Okay, so to set up the cyclone, we want to get our players to line up in a box type of setting around the key. So as we can see here, right, we have, about a square root of players, around the key, right? So we have a player here at the elbow, player here at the elbow, and two players near the net. So, a full square, around the key. Okay, we're also going to have our point guard, above the 3-point line. The key to this one is we want to have our point guard on the side of the floor, right? We don't want to have our point guard right here in the middle. We want to have our point guard on the side of the floor. Now, how you start this, if you want to start the play with your point guard here and then bring them to the side of the floor with the basketball, that's fine as well. But, either way, we just want to get our point guard here on the side of the floor. So maybe let's say, for the sake of drawing this out, that they'll start in the middle, right? And then we'll move them over to the side of the floor. Now, the key to this play is we want to get a wide open layup. For one of our wing players, right here we have it as the 4. The 4 player is going to be the one receiving the wide open layup. So you want to put the person receiving the layup in this spot that number 4 is in. But, if you have a wing player or maybe a power forward that you trust to score around the rim, that would be a good player to put in this particular position. Now, we want to have a shooter down here in this number 2 spot. So somebody who you trust to shoot the basketball, right? Because we want a lot of focus on that particular player, right? We want the defense to chase that player through screens, right? So we want the focus to be on number 2. So you should put one of your shooters or one of your stronger shooters in this number 2 spot. Okay, so what is going to happen to start? Number 2 is going to come over here and set a screen for number 3. Okay, so number 2 is coming over and setting that screen. So number 3 is coming off the screen, and number 1 is going to feed the ball over to number 3. So number 3 is receiving that basketball. Now what's going to happen immediately after that is number 2 is going to come up here and set a screen for number 4. Okay, number 4 is coming off that screen nice and tight to the basket. They're going to receive a pass here from number 3, and they're going to get a wide open layup to the basket. Now, there are a few things that you can do to make this easier, right? If you want to have number 5 kind of pop outside the 3-point line once that screen action is taking place, I don't think there's any, negative side to that as well. We can bring that defender outside the 3-point line. If you do have, a post player, a big, a 5 player, I, probably wouldn't recommend putting them on the floor for this. And I'd probably recommend more of a small ball type of, team on the floor for this, so that the other team will match, and there's not necessarily a lot of tall or great defenders around the rim on the floor. But that's neither here or there. That's not the point of the offensive play, obviously. So let's kind of look at it again. And again, we want to have number 2 here, who is going to be our shooter that we kind of want people to chase around the floor, right? And number 1 is our point guard. So it starts off again. We have that screen being set here for number 3. Right, number 3 is coming off that screen. Which way they come off the screen doesn't really matter too much, right? We're going to feed them the basketball. Now, let's say they get it maybe inside the 3-point line a little bit. And if number 1 needs to dribble, a little bit closer to get the ball to number 3, that's okay as well. Obviously, we're just kind of drawing it out here, right? And then, like I said, number 2 is going to set that screen here for number 4. Again, if you want to do this outside the key a little bit, that's okay too. All right, but let's just say it happens at the elbow. Maybe we can have number 5 pop to create some extra room there, and then we're going to have a wide open layup here for number 2. So like I said, this play, results in a wide open layup. It's one of my favorite plays of all time. I've loved using it. I've used it with teams as young as 5th grade to all the way up into high school teams as well. It's not something you want to run over and over and over again, because eventually teams will catch on. But if you want to have a heavy hitter, maybe 1 or 2 times per game that will result in a wide open layup, this is a great one for that. Great. So this is a play that the Golden State Warriors use a lot of the time. If you watch any Golden State Warrior games, you will see this play being run, at least once a game in terms of baseline out of bounds. Now, the way they signal it, they call this play rub, meaning that the inbounder will often maybe rub their stomach, rub their head, something like that, to signal that this play is taking place. So the official name for this one is we call it rub, okay? Now, how this play is going to work, we're going to have all 4 players line up in a line, right? As you can see here, we have our 4 players lined up. You have to imagine right now that the defense on the floor is going to be standing in between their player and the basket. So the player that they're guarding and the basket. So we'll imagine that these X's, right, in this situation are going to be the defense, right? So what's going to happen here And, we can see the X's right now. This is where the defense will line up. What's actually going to happen is we're going to get the ball inbounds, but then we're going to have somebody screen for the inbounder to get open for an easy layup. So this is how it's going to work. Number 5 is going to kind of pop out and extend their left arm, right? They're just going to kind of push off, back up a little bit, extend their left arm, and receive the basketball, almost as if it's a little bit of a lob. You want to have a taller player here in the number 5 spot, but they're just kind of pushing off, right? You have to understand that their defender is going to be right there, right? Their defender right now is worried about the basket. So all number 5 really needs to do is just push off, come back here a little bit, have their left hand up, and number 1 is going to basically, throw a high pass over here to number 5. When number 5 catches the ball, they're going to immediately square out to the basket and visualize the basket from where they are. Now, as that is happening, and number 5 can even push off as high to the elbow. It doesn't matter. It all depends on the skill set of your team. If they need to have a quick push off, that's fine. If you have somebody taller that can extend a little bit wider, that's okay too. But what's going to happen here is number 3 is then going to run over to the inbounds position and set a screen for number 1. So number 3 is coming over and setting that screen here for number 1. Now what number 1 is going to do is come off that screen, and they're going to cut to the basket right here, and they will receive the ball for a quick and easy layup. And, it's kind of surprising that this might work as well as it does under the rim like this, but, it almost results in a quick and easy layup every single time. Let's take a look at it once more. And in one of our other videos, you can, and I'll link it in the description, you can very clearly watch the Golden State Warriors run this play. But let's watch again. So 5 is just kind of pushing off, receiving the ball with their left hand. They're going to square out to the basket. As that's happened, number 3 is coming over here to set a screen for number 1, right? They're setting that screen. Number 1 is coming off the screen. They're receiving that basketball here for a quick and easy basket under the rim. Now that's RUB. That's the Golden State Warriors play. Check out our other video that I will link in the description if you want to watch the Golden State Warriors actually run this in action. But this is a great play to add to your playbook to result in a quick and easy basket every time. Okay, let's take a look at the Warriors run this play right now. So you can already see they're lined up in that straight line. And Draymond Green, it looks like here, is already ready to push off and receive the basketball. So let's take a look at it. So as we'll see, Draymond Green pushes off, receives that basketball with his left hand. And we already have Steph Curry heading down there, screening for the inbounder, and we get that easy layup. Let's see if we can see another one. Here we go. So we have the push off there by Iguodala. He's receiving the basketball. And again, Steph Curry setting that initial screen, and we have a wide open lane right there for Gary Payton II. Pretty easy basketball play, but it makes sense, can result in a very easy layup every time. So for this play used by the Golden State Warriors, the focus is to get the ball inbounds and then go into a dribble handoff to get somebody else on the team open. So this is how it's going to start. We're going to have number 5 here, and they're going to be the person that you want to receive the basketball. So number 5 is going to start right now by setting a screen for number 3 around the three-point line. You might even be able to move them back a little bit. It depends how old your team is. So number 3 is coming off that screen, and they're going to look for the ball under the rim for a wide open layup. Are they going to get that? Most likely not. You never know. You might get that opportunity. You might get that option down low, but chances are it's not going to be there. So we're just going to then have number 3 clear out a little bit and fill into a new spot. What number 5 is going to do after that screen is being set is they're going to pop either outside the three-point line. If you're a younger team, you can maybe set this up a little bit closer. But let's just say around here. So we're going to get the ball into number 5. So for number 5, you're probably going to want that to be a taller player. Maybe, your 5 obviously on the floor, your center position player, somebody who can, you can kind of lob the ball into. And what's going to happen then is number 2 and number 5 are going to meet for a dribble handoff. And after that dribble handoff, number 5 is setting a screen for number 2, and number 2 is coming off of that dribble handoff, and number 5 is rolling. So we now have a dribble handoff pick and roll. Now you can use number 4 and number 3 in different ways. If you want to have number 3 here in the dunker spot, just in case we get, a double team here for one of these players, that's fine. Or if you want to have number 3 clear out for a three-point shot, that's okay too. But overall, you do have multiple options here, and the goal is to get the ball inbounds for that dribble handoff pick and roll. Let's watch the Golden State Warriors run this in action. Here we have the Golden State Warriors running this play, so let's take a look. So as we can see right now, we have JaVale McGee, it looks like right here at the free throw line, and he's their center, he's their big that's going to be setting that screen, and then all their players are outside the three-point line like we talked about. So it starts with JaVale McGee setting that screen at the three-point line, and then JaVale McGee is going to pop and extend and receive the basketball. Immediately after that happens, this player on the wing, who looks to be Sean Livingston, is going to meet JaVale McGee for that dribble handoff, and then we have a wide open DHO dribble handoff / pick and roll to the basket. Pretty easy, pretty simple, not super complicated, which is what I do find with the Golden State Warriors and their dribble handoff play, their baseline out of bounds plays and their sideline out of bounds plays. They like to keep things simple. They like to just focus on getting the ball in bounds. And obviously it's easy to do that when you have players like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and players like that. But as you can see, they just ran this play here with some, players that are not even close to that caliber. So this is something that you can run with, some of your stronger players, or if you're a youth team, it's pretty simple and you can run this with your younger team as well.